Okay, good morning, everyone. Great to see people jumping on board straight away. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit of a wet morning here in Sydney, and that's actually where Costa's going to be streaming across from very shortly. So we'll get underway. I have been on the phone to Costa. He's stuck in a bit of Sydney traffic, and as I mentioned, it's a bit wet. On his way to a community garden in Newtown, right in the heart of Sydney. So hopefully everyone's having a great day. I can see a chat feed coming through, so hopefully you're getting some video through. So let us know if that's playing up on that side of things, but we should be able to get underway very shortly. So you might have caught some of the videos from yesterday that we had. So we had Phil Dubman talking about how you can be putting together your own wonderful punnets growing from seed and coming live from his kitchen. So everyone coming in from all their various parts of the planet on these challenging times and looking at different ways of talking gardening. But we are underway. Costa will be with us very shortly. So if you do have any questions, feel free to throw them up on the side channel chat in the comments. And what I'll do is, as they come through, I'll feed them in, and Costa will be able to see them as he's wandering through what's apparently an awesome community garden. I'm looking forward to checking it out myself. So in the interim, whilst he's getting there, I'm sure he'll be jumping online sometime soon. Also mentioned some of the other videos that you might have seen. There was Kevin Red doing talking all about turmeric. So if you're interested in growing that, you can have a look at some of the videos from yesterday. And I also did one all about irrigation. So if you've wondered how to set up a new irrigation system, or perhaps trick one up an old existing one, some new technologies you might look at incorporating into that for making your irrigation system a lot more efficient. And it's obviously a good time through the cooler months to get onto things like that. So I'll and there we go. He was in the car, so hopefully he'll be live very shortly. I'm just seeing a few comments through there. So black screen. Hopefully you can see more than a black screen. It shows that people are online there. In the interim, you can also be posting up any questions. We're going to have Jerry Colby-Williams coming on a little bit later this morning as well. So he'll be doing a garden Q&A. So if you've got any questions for him along the way, that will be available from then. I've got a message from Costa. Can you see me? No, I think he might have clicked on the wrong link. So I'm just going to go through here. And if we can't get him on the line on this one, we might check the link. You gotta love a bit of technology fun, because there's not much to tour you from our balcony. As I mentioned, it's a bit of a wet day here in Sydney. So let me just I am going to see if I can send him a new link from here, just to make sure he's got one. Invite. Sorry about this. We'll get him on very shortly. I've just got to try and see what we can do here. Links in here. That. Very good. So if we can't get him up and live on this one shortly, I'll possibly have to restart it in a few moments' time. But I'll just give him a call and just double check that he's got the right one there. If not, let's just get him on the line quickly. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday morning there. We'll see if we can... Okay, it says he's backstage. I am going to try and get... Costa, how are you? Yeah, is that tomorrow's link maybe? It's definitely today's one. Yeah, I'm doing it via Marielle's computer, so I'm just going to see if I can copy this. Yeah. Oh, no email. Okay, so only text. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, we'll give that a go. Okay, bye. So bear with me just while we get this link to work. I'm going to just send a text message through here. Sorry about this. StreamYard.com. So send through. I saw someone posting weather details from where they are. It looked like a much nicer day where that came in from. Snack 5MT. Hopefully that comes through to Costa and he'll be jumping on shortly. We'll see. We'll see very shortly. Technology, got to love it. Okay, so what do we got? Chantal Devere, 24 degrees in Queensland. Yeah, beautiful. Was it still rain up there though as well? I thought there was rain through a lot of parts of the world at the moment. So we're going to see. Oh, I'm getting a new link, I think. So we'll just wait 1 second because I've sent this link through to Costa if it gets him up and live. But he was sort of stuck in traffic, so we didn't get to test it beforehand, which you normally can do. New link for Costa. Okay. Let me just see what we might do. I'm just going to double check. I think I get to change this one. Oh, here we go. I've got him.
Here we go.
Here we go. So, Costa, you're online. That's quite the umbrella too.
Oh yeah, you happy with that?
Costa, you're live. You're sideways though.
Oh, I'm sideways.
Yeah.
Oh, so do I have to stay vertical?
I
must have to.
Yeah, maybe.
If I go horizontal, doesn't want to shift the thing. All right. Well, I'll just stay vertical. That's all right. Most of the stuff I'm going to be able to talk about close up like this. Maybe
perfect.
when I change the camera. I wonder.
Came through a bit of rain. So, Costa, are you ready to roll in the community garden?
Yeah, I am here. I have
got the umbrella up through there. So I've just been, well, people have actually just been looking at me, scratching my head whilst I worked out some issues. We try to get you on there, so free texting the bits and pieces. So, but you're in Sydney, bit of rain. I explained it's raining. Touring a Newtown community garden. So I'll let you take it away from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, Costa.
Can you, Matt? Can you just hang on for 1 sec while I?
Yep.
Well, put me on, and then we'll just see when. Because I want to be able to turn my camera around, and I'm just hoping that's going to be able to happen.
Let me remove myself and see if you can do it then.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. Excuse the tech issues. It's really funny because I use this platform very regularly, but I use it in the context of the host, not as the guest. So this is kind of random because I haven't used it from this side, and I can't see.
It seems to only like you being portrait.
What's that?
It seems to only like your portrait. When you rotated it, it's
it doesn't want to do it. And I want to try and turn my camera around, and it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to turn the camera around, which is not a good thing because here we go. Edit name removed from stream. Stop mic cam. This is strange. Sorry, everyone. There's nothing worse than tech issues when you just want to get into it. And for some reason, there's no camera. There's no flip camera.
No flip camera. Let me just check through.
Because it's a bit hard to sort of show people what you're doing when you're not.
Yeah.
You either got to look at the camera. Oh, damn. You're seeing it firsthand, everyone. Issue. What sort of riveting Saturday morning viewing is this? My noggin in an umbrella. At least I pulled my funkiest umbrella. This is very random, Matt, because it's a bit.
Well, if you perhaps just start chatting, I will find out if there's anything I can do in the background. I'll just give Kristen a buzz and see if there's anything she can think of. Otherwise, send you yeah.
Otherwise, I might have to go out and come back in again.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find out for you.
Okay. So everyone, I kind of want to get started, but I don't want to sort of make it disjointed so that if someone gets to the beginning, they can just fast forward all of this rubbish tech issue of 10 minutes and come straight in. This is kind of strange. Let me see. Why can't... Someone's bringing their garbage bin in. The sounds of Saturday morning. All right. Well, I don't know what we're going to do here because I can't really take a tour without. Being able to use front cam. And I'm sure you're going to get sick of waiting. What can we do? Camera. Damn, everyone, damn. I didn't drive all the way over here to try and do this sort of action because it's not really how you want to see it. Matt, what do you reckon? I'll go out of the stream and come back in. Let's just end this one and try again. Because, you know, I mean, it's kind of just doesn't really work this way. I want to
mute myself. So if you go out, come back again and just start your phone in portrait maybe and see if that makes a difference. Otherwise, we'll, just go sideways.
Started in what? Landscape?
In landscape, sorry. Yeah. If you come back to it, just to see if that, and we'll try that for one and then roll.
Right. No worries, mate.
There we go. Sorry, everyone, for the technical issues through here, but if we can't get it going sideways, we'll see if we can just roll with it in portrait mode. So now I have lost some of the comments through here. What do we got? You have to start with the orientation you want to continue with, says Monica. So hopefully that will help through there. Do you have to start in landscape? Claire Bickle on the line. Hey, Claire. Claire's been doing a lot of content as well for the live series. So might as well tell you what else is happening today. So I mentioned Jerry Colby-Williams will be on later talking all about taking questions. So if you've got any questions, there was actually a post on the Facebook page where you can be adding your questions there. And then there's also a little bit later today, I'm going to be talking about what's in potting mix. So I attended yesterday a wonderful presentation in the morning out at the place where they actually blend all the potting mixes. So I thought I'd show you all the different ingredients that go into a potting mix and why they're important. And for those of you that are interested in making your own mixes, you might be making a green wall and looking for certain aspects of a potting soil in that regard, or if you might be doing longer term plantings, we can sort of break it down and you can learn some of the ingredients through there. So they'll be taking place a little bit later today, but I think I've lost my bearded buddy on the bottom screen, so I'll just keep an eye out for him to come back and join us. Thank you again for coming through. Hopefully we can get this live on a dreary Saturday morning here in Sydney. So normally we'd be able to get on and test it beforehand, but with a bit of Saturday traffic and wet weather, meant Costa was running a little bit late to the community garden there in Sydney, in Newtown. So hopefully we'll be able to get him live and be able to share that garden with you very shortly. I'll just check my phone to see that he's not something through there. So we've got, I seem to have, he seems to have disappeared big time. So I can see we've got quite a few people watching what is just me padding in between. What else could I tell you about through, so I mentioned earlier that you can go check out those other videos that were put through yesterday. Other presentations through today and also tomorrow. So do keep your eye on the timetable through there. Here we go. I see Costa's popping back on and I'm going to add him in here. Hi, Costa, you're live again and you are looking the same. So we might have to roll with it, just otherwise we'll run out of time. But if you can make it work and roll with it.
Yeah.
It'll be like taking a selfie the whole time with the thing.
Yeah, that's fine. We have to do this all the time when we're filming. You just got to roll with it. So, yeah, all right, Matt. Well, here we go. Hello, everyone. Sorry about wasting 15 minutes. I'm bummed out. I drove all the way over here to Newtown so that I could take you for a bit of a walk through this community garden and show you around and just show you some of the really valuable little things that you can not only apply to your garden, but also for anyone interested in getting a community garden started. There's some great little hints and tips here that you can appreciate. And one thing can I say that I haven't been used to for a long time is the sound of aeroplanes. And being here in Camdenville, so this is the Camdenville Paddock Community Garden. And I'm going to start at the gate, which is a good place to start. And I want to show you walking around with an umbrella is a challenge. So, and it's raining on the phone, so it's got water on the lens. Okay, so this is the actual entry to the garden. Now, some of you may have seen this project or this garden on Gardening Australia when we did a story about it was called Food Scrap Friday, where each of the students takes a bucket home and they bring their food scraps in. Well, here's a little hint. They actually had to close. So what they had here was this little window that they cut in the fence, where they had a garbage bin and they had a piece of string attached to the fence. You could lift the lid up and tip your food scraps in there so that people could deposit their food scraps when their garden was closed. The problem they've had in the period was they were just getting so many food scraps, they couldn't manage it all. So with the anywhere from 150 to 200 kilos of scraps that they get every Friday from the students and families, they realized that they couldn't also get that. But I put that up there as an example of what you could do at a community garden if you want to get community scraps. Simply have something like this. They had one of the red bins, the red Otto bins in the background there that you see in there. And it's a really simple way of increasing the amount of organic inputs, the resources that are available in every suburb. You've just got to put out for them, ask people, and they'll bring them. So unfortunately, it's a bit like, from this side you can see it's like a little canteen window that they were bringing them in. So even though it's not working here, I just wanted to show that to you because I think it's a valuable thing. And for those of you that haven't heard of the application called Share Waste, check that one out on Facebook. And particularly if you go away during the school holidays, at any time during the year for that matter, jump on Share Waste so that you can collect your food scraps in a saucepan, in a pot at the rental property. Collect all your food scraps, find someone in advance or while you're there, just jump on the app. And then that way you can continue your composting journey without having to go, oh, well, we're on holidays, we'll just throw it in the landfill bin. Now, the garden itself here, it was created 10 years ago, and it's got a fantastic energy about it. I really love this place, and you can see each of the garden beds has a different name. So people come and join. This one's called Clover. The next one is called. This one here is called Hot Bush. The one over there is called a Wombat Cherry. And all of the beds were made out of sleepers. And the sleepers are 2.4 by 2.4. So that means, you've got about a 5.5, 6 square meters per garden bed. And look at the verdant growth on this bed. Silver beet, mustard, parsley. There's a big rhubarb patch in the middle. There's a whole lot of what's the name that Kevin did his talk on yesterday. If anyone can enlighten me on what this plant is, I'm just G'ing you up. This one here has some great peas growing. There's still tomatoes flowering down here in Sydney, which is quite a revelation, even on my street verge, which I'm going to show off my street verge tomorrow and talk to you about verge gardening. But as I wander you through the garden here, a couple of things to think about when you're doing a community garden is, well, first of all, of course, how are you going to make your plots? What sort of material are you going to make them out of? And as I said, in this case, they're making them out of timber sleepers. But then the other big issue you want to ask is, what are you going to do with the ground? If you use lawn, you're going to end up with a lot of mowing and edging. I think one of the best things you can use is wood chip, and using wood chip is something that you can get off a local arborist. In this case, they also have access to a local timber. The local timber yard is not far from here, and they get a whole lot of wood shavings and sawdust. And that is a beautiful carbon input, which brings all sorts of different fungi and hyphae and microbial activity that you can benefit, that the garden beds will benefit by having that activity just on the other side of the sleeper. So consider that as a really valuable local resource. Arborists need to get rid of wood chip because they're getting truckloads of it, you know, each week, depending on what work they're doing. So in this case, here at this garden, they have just this area here around the actual community hub, like the building, the structure that they have, they've got some grass. But the rest of the area, they basically use wood chip. This is a wonderful working hub here that was built by the community at the beginning. So the interesting point about this garden is that it was a piece of land between the school and a house, which may well have been school land, or it was called part of the paddocks. And the beauty of it is that it backs onto the school. So what you've got here is a dual gated, well, it's actually a triple gated community garden. So the school can come in when they want to. There's access off the street on this side, and then there's also access off the laneway on this side. So it's really a wonderful community asset. The kids can come in and play on the basketball court, and they can also come and join in and be a part of you know, all of the learnings and opportunities that the garden can offer from a curriculum and teacher support point of view. One of the big elements that you'll see here is their compost bins. The compost bins here are many. There's about 30 compost bins, because when you're getting anywhere from 150 to 200 kilos of waste in a week, you need a system that can handle it. So what they have is, this is a three-tiered system. First is Feed Me. The second label, and these are really simple too. This is just made out of some offcuts of hardwood. They've painted the 3-color system. So blue is I'm ready, red is turn me, or they use screw me, because that's a reference to the compost turners. And then the third one is feed me. So something as simple as that, with a couple of eye hooks, and that way you get the message across to people. Like this one, we want you to use. So let's have a look inside, and you can see that compost is beautiful and it's ready to go. I'll just take you to another one over here. I'll take you to one over here where you can see, where's one that's got screw? Let me have a look. This one's Feed Me. This one's Feed Me. I'm hungry. But judging by the vinegar flies here, I think, yeah, okay. So this one has been fed. Now the only problem with that one is no one's put any carbon on the top, be it shredded newspaper, sawdust, straw, whatever. So of course the vinegar flies come in because they want to get a piece of the action. They want to get stuck into the fruits, particularly the sugars. So as soon as you open it, I'm struggling here. I've got them swimming around in my eyes and so on, which is a little bit of a pain. But so that one is the Feed Me, I'm hungry. And then this one is a midway system, and it's Screw Me. And as you can see, it's composting away nicely. There's no vinegar flies. This just needs a turn, and it will be going really well, and probably only a couple of weeks away from maturity. Again, they're the sorts of, these are little details that I see in community gardens and say, yep, that's how you get the message across. That's how you can really look. I can go to any of them. Actually, the rain appears to have stopped, so I can put this umbrella down. It's kind of a little bit difficult to hold that and walk around. And while I'm at it, I'm going to have a swig on my tea. So another detail. So here, let's just have a look in one more bin, just so that you can see. So this one is a screw me on full. And as you can see, someone's put a little bit of coffee grounds on the top of that, which will be ready to mix in. I saw Harry, who's Harriet. She's the president of the garden here. She was putting that out, and she's going to turn that in. So there's good systems around this garden, because that's the important thing to remember. If you choose to ask people for waste, you have to be able to deal with it. You can't just sort of go, oh well, I'll take some today and then I won't take some tomorrow. You've got to be able to deal with it. I just thought I'd put my beanie on because Dudders had his beanie on yesterday, so I thought I may as well put my beanie on and get a bit of continuity in the videos. Okay, so that's the compost system here at Camdenville. The other thing I wanted to show you as an element to consider is they have some of these IBCs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 IBCs that they've put conveniently. Love the beanie. Thanks, Nicola. They've put these IBCs around the garden, and they have a pump, and they pump water from their rainwater tank, because they catch water off their resources centre, which I'll show you in a minute, and their little garden shed, and they can pump that water out to these points, so that anyone using these gardens only has to come to this point, and they have the watering cans here, so that you can fill up, and you're only a short walk with the water to your gardens, because they don't have town water here. Just little ways, particularly, I mean, you could even think about it with your own garden. You could run your down pipes. You could get some, very cheaply, I mean, some PVC pipe, and run just one of your down pipes the whole length of your yard all the way down to your backyard, and have a couple of IBCs there, and there's water for your patch. So think about that as a way of making your resources accessible, and actually slowing rainwater down. You can pick up IBCs generally anywhere from $75 to $150 each. And yeah, g'day Monica, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for the comment. What a great watering system. Yeah, it just means they can use rainwater, and they do get a reasonable amount. You can see here. So there's this structure, so they get water off that, but then they also get water off this larger shed that you see here in the background, which is a wonderful thing. The other thing to consider, and there's a community garden on the south coast, so that if you were constructing something, particularly like a court or something, you could pitch the court in a given direction, catch all the water off it at a low point, and again have a subterranean tank, or a tank below, well, basically below ground level or at ground level, and then be able to use it. And down on the south coast, because they've got an elevated garden, they actually put a waterproof membrane across, I think about 100 square meters. And sorry, I was walking through the garden there. I got something hanging there in my beard. That'll bother some people. Just like anyway, they capture that that water by letting it run over the ground into a funnel point, and then they run it through gravity fed into tanks down the bottom. So think about the hard surfaces. If you're starting a community garden, where are the surrounding buildings? How can you access their rainwater to utilize on your garden? Because the thing you got to remember, this garden looks fantastic at the moment. Look how green it is. But this time 6 months ago, it was brown, and they were having to really work hard to water the garden because they didn't have access to water, and it was dry and a drought. This is a nice little mosaic. You know, you might have someone in your community that's very artistic. This tank is coming off the little garden house, and this is hand wash only, so people can come here and wash their hands. But someone's gone to great lengths to build a beautiful mosaic basin, which I really like. And having the hand wash in a community garden is really, really important. Over here you can see they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they've probably got about 10,000 litres of storage capacity coming off their resource centre. And like any good community garden, you need spaces like this. Do they also use companion planting in this community? Yeah, they certainly do. I'll show you a little bit, because they were just doing some of that the other day, Marion, when I was here working with Gardening Australia. We did a bit of filming. So you can see that they've got worm farms here, and then they just store all of the other materials that they had. They used to have the chickens they used to have the chickens in this building here, but they actually swapped it over because they needed the space for their resources. So in here, no food scraps, dry material only. So they collect leaves, and other important carbon materials, so that they can manage. Love the mosaic idea. Yeah. So over here you can see that and this is the key. And I think from a composting point of view, now whether you're just talking about composting at your place, or whether you're talking about composting on a scale like this, you need carbon. You need to have your carbon materials. So they have access to all this sawdust, which gives them that balance, because when you're getting 150 to 200 kilos a week, you have to have that equivalent carbon. Otherwise, all of your compost bins will go manky. They collect leaves. You know, when you find big plastic bags, or you see big plastic bags, think of them as an opportunity to store materials like this. Look, and they have their paper. They have their shredded paper. So this, I wanted to walk you through this resource centre, because you don't have to have a pile that big. You just need a couple of garbage bin fulls for your home garden. But it's the same thing, exactly the same story, just a slightly different scale. They've even got a little bit of lucerne here as well. So consider the importance of your resource centre and having access, and working out how you can gain access to materials of this volume, or of this caliber, I mean. Oh, the sawdust got in my throat. So that's the reason why they're having such success in terms of managing the so many kilos of waste every week, because they have with them all of those additional resources. This little building here was built by the initial group that started the garden, and they did a fantastic job. Look, design of the live greenhouse. This house is a modular This house is a modular structure that transforms into a lively exhibition space displaying sustainable technologies and green living. Like that, they went to an incredible amount of work, and it's been here for 10 years. All of this information is there for the students to appreciate. There's walls, and all of these, as you can see, all of these doors can open. So they can open up and use it as a real hub for learning. What's more, there is also a composting toilet here. There's a waterless composting toilet. Only add poo, wee, and paper. After a poo, add a scoop of straw and 10 squirts of enzyme. Rotate the handle clockwise and leave the seat down. Someone didn't leave the seat down, so I'll just put that down. And then there's all this valuable information. Plywood, the living greenhouse is made from 25mm grade plywood, lightweight, versatile, and stable. And there's information on water. Just one dripping tap can waste more than 2,000 litres of water a month. Waste, Australians produce the second highest amount of waste in the world. That's not exactly good to know. We throw away 3.3 million tonnes of food every year. So this is really good, because it just keeps this information really present. And look here, what have they done? This timber has been sealed with a citrus-based oil, allowing visitors to see the materials, including hoop pine veneer, Australian hardwood, such as spotted gum and blue gum. Really good, really great example of how a community asset such as that hub can be built in a way that it's educational. Now, someone talked about so much to learn at a community garden. Yeah, Gillian, this one, Camdenville Paddock, is a ripper. It's an absolute ripper. And you can see they're using all sorts of different containers. They've got a bathtub here that's growing a crop of broad beans. And when we talk about companion planting, you can see that there's borage here. They've been around last week, and they've been planting around the corners of the gardens all sorts of beneficial flowering plants, lots of violets, lots of other insect attracting plants that will just help, and that mean the actual garden beds aren't being taken up with those plants. They can use them, and you can see there's pelargonium here, there's lavender, you've got thyme is spilling over out of this garden bed. There's mint crawling around. There's mint crawling around on the paths, which is all right. You prefer to have the mint on the outside in the paths, and you can tread on it, do what you like, and it just keeps coming back, as you can see. Veggies here. I look at calendulas. Talk about companion planting. There's calendulas planted around these water containers. So all of the space around the garden is being utilised for these beneficial planting. This one has a rosemary. This bed here is absolutely overflowing. I think I'm going to have to go back to my umbrella. Is overflowing with borage. Lots and lots of borage here, which is when that starts to flower, there'll be insects aplenty, absolutely going nuts. Now, over here, I think the other thing you need to consider if you're going to go with a community garden is you want areas where children can connect and engage. So in this case, they've built a rope climb between the two Chinese elms, and they've built a cubby house platform or a raised platform here, so that the children can play. So that if you're part of it and you're bringing your children along, you want stuff for them to do too. so that they can engage with a bit of gardening, but they can also engage their creativity in different ways. So think about that. Think about the idea of seating, because a little bit of seating scattered around the garden is a really nice thing. Oh, we've got a question there. Would you add drainage holes under the bathtub? Look, the drainage from the bathtub sinkhole should be enough. You can always just put a bit of fabric, or shade cloth with some gravel, just to ensure that with a little bit of ag pipe right along the bottom of the bath, you could run that, zigzag that along the bottom of the bath, and it will do the drainage that you need. Any ideas for cheap composting options if you wanted to start up a community composting system? All right, let me think about that. Who was that? Sam Mann. So just while I'm here, here's another I really like this. This is called Space to Share. And basically what happens, and this is just a couple of coat hangers with a few hooks. These are a couple of baskets, and people just put their excess in here. On Thursday when we were here, there were eggs in this one. There was rosemary in that one. But given that it's Saturday, people have been in and they've already collected what was here. Now that it's raining, people aren't out in the garden this morning loading this up. But whenever I come, there's always things to take here, be it eggs, be it some silver beet, some rocket, whatever. People just harvest a bit of stuff and leave it here. It's a beautiful, simple way of sharing with the community. So they shifted their chickens out here, and this is their new chicken coop, which is going really well. The students come in and feed them as well during the day. They bring food scraps down to them. So there's lots of great synergies between the school and the community in this garden. Now, Sam, to your composting, probably a simple way. Now, depending on what your materials are, if you're going food scraps and you're in an urban area, you don't really want to leave that as an open pile, because that will attract vermin. These sorts of bins are very good because, and actually, if you watch my broadcast tomorrow, I'm going to be talking specifically about composting over at my place, and I'll be able to share with you how I make my compost bins vermin proof, and just little techniques you can use. But yeah, if you're going with food scraps, you definitely want to keep it sealed so that you don't attract any vermin to your garden. Otherwise, if it's a lot of green material, you can raise pallets vertically, use star pickets, and you can even line the pallets on the inside so that you don't necessarily have it falling into the inside of the pallet. You could line the back and maybe even one side, so you still get air in there. They're a simple way. And then any other containers you can get hold of that you can use, they're also valuable. But I'll show you, if you're able to join me tomorrow at 11:30, I'll show you some of the composting containers and systems that I have, and I'll show you my worm farm bathtubs. And the wire netting, that's exactly what I was going to show you. If you can also use just netting. You can also use just fencing or panels of mesh, and then if you put the smaller mesh inside, that will prevent any vermin getting in. And basically, that's going to sit up, about, well, you can raise it as high as you like and load it up, and then you can just disengage it to get your compost out. My friend Aaron at Elemental Permaculture has a great system down there, which when I'm down there next, I'll do a live broadcast and share it with you. Any questions at this stage? I'm just trying to see what else I can what else I can show you. But I mean, realistically, I mean, look at the quality of the veg here. They apply a lot of their compost because they're making so much of it, and everything is looking. I mean, this silver beet here, look at it. It's like a triffid. It's basically almost a meter high, which is fantastic, you know. And there's rocket aplenty, snow peas, beetroot, more silver beet, rhubarb. This is one of those mesh snow piece climbing camo nets, which someone gave me one the other day. But that's a simple thing. Here's a simple method. Someone's put a bit of fly screen over an old bird cage to protect their seedlings. So that works really well. And over here, we did a story with the out of the garden here, and we made a black soldier fly larvae farm, and that's a pretty straightforward. You can find that on the Gardening Australia website, and you can actually harvest soldier fly to feed your chickens or your aquaponics system. It's really quite straightforward. This is just one of those container recycling boxes with a couple of outlets. But I can I'll put the link on this post when I get home later so that you can see how to do that. Could you show the share station again? We're thinking of setting one up at our community garden. Yeah, no worries, Monica. It's basically all they've used is, I think, a couple of pallets. They've screwed on some palings. Well, no, it's actually just a piece of, it's just a frame with some timber palings. So it's just a frame with some timber palings. That's a little bit of that's a 4x2, I suppose, with some timber palings. And then these baskets are just screwed in. Here you've got some jars that are just wrapped around with a bit of fencing wire, and it's as simple as that. Space to share. It's really, really, really basic. But for me, looking at community gardens all around the country, the ones that are doing it well are the ones that are keeping it simple. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, for all of you gardeners out there, for any of you that follow anything that I've been doing lately, there's a wonderful survey going on that's looking at the importance, just how people have been gardening during lockdown. And the idea of the survey is to find out what people are doing to get some really good statistics so that those stats can be used by urban agriculture, for the Urban Agriculture Forum, which is coming up next year again, but also for communities to leverage not just local government, but particularly state and federal government for funding out of different buckets, particularly the health, well-being and mental health and well-being bucket, where our gardens have provided a lot of respite for people and will keep providing respite for people over the months ahead, particularly down south at the moment in Melbourne, where they've gone back in for another 5 or 6 weeks of lockdown. So if you can fill out that survey, that would be fantastic. Matt put it up. I'll put it in the comments again. So far, we've got about 6,500 respondents. If we can get that up to 10,000, it would be fantastic, because that is a solid number of people giving weight to those statistics. So thanks for putting that up, Matty. I appreciate it, mate. How are we down for time?
I've joined the beanie party, Costa.
Pretty much done. If there's any other questions, feel free.
I've popped in.
What's that, Matt?
I've jumped in. I've got a beanie on as well as you and Phil. Obviously, it's the in thing for lockdown times, is it? Nice thing through there. So we've had some some more comments coming through. Time wise, we're probably just a couple of minutes. So if anyone has any final questions, jump in through there, and then we can run it out. So we've got Gillian just mentioning she's been gardening.
G'day, Jill.
More during COVID.
That's fantastic.
It's been interesting seeing all the shelves and garden centres all decimated. People, seedlings, seeds, lots of learning taking place as well. So,
yeah, exactly, and it's a really, it's easy to underestimate how important it is. But I suppose the other important aspect of this survey, and I'm doing a live tour before my walk around my garden at 11:30. At 9 o'clock tomorrow, I'm doing a live tour of edible gardens around the country again as part of that, to just raise this awareness. And the most important thing is to illustrate that this is something that, for all those new people that have joined, we don't want them just to disappear. We want them to stay with it. We want them to stay with gardening. And there's many different ways that we can do that, and support is one of those things. I'm just realizing that my battery's getting a bit low, so I'll go back to my car and plug the battery in so that I can finish off any last questions.
You've gone black. I know you're back. That's good.
Oh, there you go. I'm black and back and black.
Yeah.
So if there's any more questions, feel free.
Because we're actually going to be joined by one of your mates, Jerry, at 11 o'clock. He's going to be doing Q&A as well. So on a more general topic.
He does fantastic. Yeah. No, Jerry, definitely hang around or jump back on and catch Jerry at 11, because he's a real wealth of knowledge, and you won't be able to stump Jerry with any left field questions. He'll pull an answer for sure. But so this garden here has been going. Oh, here we go. Here's a question. Gardening has got a lot of people through the lockdown. Such a powerful mental health tool for everyone. Yeah, Monica, couldn't agree more. And it's not just the physical gardening, it's the appreciation of gardening. So many people walking their suburbs, seeing other people, seeing parks, seeing gardens. The role that our parks and gardens have played has been phenomenal as a therapeutic aspect, and being able to not just recognize that, but be able to fund it and raise that priority, and really drive gardening and the importance of gardening and horticulture for not just food security, but mental health into the future. This is the time, Maddie, and I reckon there's a momentum that we want to keep. And even though the Garden Expo couldn't go ahead, this opportunity to have a chat and have all these talks go on, I think is a wonderful way to keep that momentum going. This would have been the 36th year. The team are fired up. I mean, to Marion and Peter and the committee, big call out to them, because they're doing great stuff, and they tried to keep it going. They tried to hold on to an alternative timing, but that got knocked on the head too. And then at least they still threw this up as a way of keeping the community together. It's a great effort, isn't it, Matty?
It's great. And it's been great having a wander through, checking out the community garden. As you mentioned, you're going to be back again tomorrow to show some more. We might work in the background to see if we can iron out some of the kinks in our hookup thing through there between times. But and I'm sure if anyone any other questions might come in a bit later, maybe if you can run your eye over it a bit later on the feed as they come through. But thank you very much for coming and showing us through there, and enjoy what's the rest of the day planned? Get out in the garden?
Yeah, well, she's pouring down at the moment. I've got a little bit to do on my garden and just prepare for tomorrow's talk. So for anyone still there, tomorrow I'm going to show you just what's happening on my Verge garden at the moment. and talk to you a little bit about my composting system and give you a bit of a sneak preview of a garden that I planted up, an insect pollinator and butterfly garden that I planted up for a segment of the show, which I'm not sure when that's going to come on. So this is exclusive viewing for Queensland Garden Expo viewers only. Can I talk that up enough?
Well, you heard it here first, and as mentioned, I put that link for that survey as well in the feed through there, so people can jump in there and participate as well. But thanks a lot for that, Costa.
No worries, Matty. Thanks everyone for joining in and supporting the Expo, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you, Matt. Bye, everyone.